What up, 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 what up? What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Rod and Don. It's another ep of the Brooklyn Bears Ball Sports Talk Show. We are in the building one more time, talking all the latest and greatest sports culture. You know how we do, y'all. And listen, we are excited about today's ep. It's going to be amazing because there's always so much good stuff to talk about. We got, we talking about everybody from Ja to KD, to Lamar. It's going to be on, you know what I'm saying? But before we get into it, me and Don just need you to do us a favor like always. We need you to smash that like button. We need you to share. We need you to comment. We need you to do everything you need to do to support these platforms, Facebook, YouTube. We appreciate the love, man. Show us some more for this episode because it's definitely going to be fire. We got Big Don in the building holding down the West Coast. What's going on out there in the Bay, bro?
Oh, man, it's all good. We've been waterlogged. I mean, it's been raining so much.
Really?
But
wow.
Listen, it's California is welcoming the rain because then it won't rain for, 7 months. So we'll take it while we can get it. And, then once it stops, it'll hold us down. Everything is green now. And, then it'll turn brown. But it's all good.
It's all good.
Man, but should be a good show. Without further ado, let's get into it.
Sir.
Okay, latest on Ja Morant.
Yeah, man.
So they have decided not to press any charges because Denver is an open carry state. I guess it is. Now, this is what they're saying. They're saying that based on the video, and this is accurate, you cannot tell if Ja Morant was inebriated or if he had alcohol. Now, he was in a strip club. He had no shirt on. He had a gun up to his ear. But they're not sure if he's had any drinks. Although people in the background that were on the video were clearly drinking. That is, in my opinion, the NBA's way of making it go away. If they want something to go away, it will go away.
Yep.
And they have, to this point, already invested a lot in Ja Morant. They are basically wanting to because most corporations, businesses, we're talking NFL, NBA, they're forward thinking. So they're always thinking, because overall people's attention spans are so short, they're always thinking of the next big thing, right? So even though they clearly still have a face of the NBA, right? And arguably a few that could be up and coming, they're always looking to get younger. So they're looking for a younger person that has the swag, that can identify with the younger and younger generation. So they've already invested in him, and they're not going to let that go up in smoke.
Right.
So clearly, this is something that they are, through the investigation, they want it to go away, clearly, because there are, you can look and make a determining factor. Yes, it's a video, right? But you can put two and two together that you would think in the environment that there's a high probability that alcohol was involved, and then it would be a bigger deal. But to say, now there's still some explaining that has to be done as to how that gun got there. And is it his, or was it a local's? Because they were on a road trip. So was it a local that bought it there and he happened to do an Instagram live with his shirt off and the gun up to his ear? Or was that his? Because if it's his, then there is some further things that need to be explained. And then perhaps there are laws that have been broken. But as of now, it appears that he has, been able to navigate through that first issue, that first hurdle.
Right.
Now Memphis is being consistent with, okay, it was 2 games. Now he is the latest update. He's going to be away from the team for at least another 4 games. So I think they're trying to kind of lull everyone with hopefully the checks will clear enough that they can resolve these things and there's no significant, because if they are, it's just like anything else. If someone gets ahead of it and they take, hey, look, he's already been out 15 games by the time, perhaps everything is all said and done. Hey, you want to punish him up and above that? We've already, but still in the constraints and time frame that he could still be there for the playoffs. So Memphis is trying to be smart, and they're trying to lessen the blow from the NBA and the commissioner. But clearly, there's some things that will still have to be ironed out. What do you say?
Well, I mean, I agree with you. We got money to burn. Money to burn. Because that's exactly what this is all about, D. I mean, you and I know we've been watching sports long enough, and me being an avid Dallas Cowboy fan, our, advertised and ostentatious owner, Jerry Jones, is known to kind of put some things to bed, if you know what I mean, right? Down through the years, just as recently as one of our second-round draft picks, Kelvin Joseph, just a couple of years ago, well, actually last year, he was part of a crime. Someone got murdered, and he was an accessory to that. And, I believe he was charged, or he was considered a very viable suspect, and it all kind of went away, right? Because, Jerry knows the police department, Jerry knows everybody in Texas, everybody in Arlington, everybody in Dallas. So, you can make that thing go away. To your point, D, Ja is a young face, right? You got a lot of young stars. You got him, you got Luka, right? You got Giannis, you got these guys that are coming up, right? I don't think they've separated themselves from that ultimate figure or that face like you had with, like, say, LeBron and Michael Jordan. But these are your up and coming stars, right? Ja, he's box office, right? So the whole thing is, you want to protect that. They've got a lot of investment in them. And so here's the thing. You definitely had something that was made to go away, right? I mean, you can say it's inconclusive. We don't know. We can't determine whether it's a real gun or not, or whatever the case may be. There's ways to find that out. Trust me. Okay. They have a plethora of resources to be able to find that out if that is the case or not. But they'll let it go. I guess my thing is, what does the NBA going to do with all of this, right? Has Ja violated any CBA agreements as far as policy and conduct, or, what does the NBA got to, they have to weigh in. And I think for consistency purposes, the NBA, you got to be able to do something. So if it's 6 games now up to Memphis, then, it could be whatever many games the NBA may want to levy against Ja Morant. So that's going to be the interesting thing right there. And Ja, look, man, I would think, his only last chance, right? Because there's a mountain of things that have already been up against him before this episode happened. So his behavior, his choices, they were already in question, very sus from the beginning in the last couple of weeks. So right now he has hardly, I don't think, any rope, in my opinion, to play with. Leverage is gone, no real latitude left. This is it. So he's got to walk the straight and narrow from now until almost the rest of his career, or at least go 2 or 3 years with just without incident. Because if anything else is to happen, it's definitely going to be a problem, I think. So, but I think Ja will learn a lesson. But other than all of what you said, I agree, D. It was paid off. Somebody stepped in, whether it be the NBA, the owners, whomever it was, somebody that's protected. Nike, it could have been in a plethora of different sponsors that he signed to. And it's just, look, Ja, get this right. Don't create any more noise. Keep it low. We want you to just go play some basketball and make a lot of money for you, a lot of money for us, and all as well. And I think that's what we're seeing right now.
Well, certainly I think that there has to be cameras, right? So there would have to be, whether they were bartenders, the people that work there would be witnesses to say if they saw him drinking. There might be a camera. Listen, if they want it to go away, it goes away. But what Absolutely. I do disagree with you is he's not on any type of short leash. He will be able to make more mistakes and productivity.
You think anytime soon, though? I mean, like, you think he can make another error in another month or so and do something else that's kind of like real, like, boneheaded, like what he's been doing, you mean? Or
within reason, yeah. I don't think that this is the cliff. Like, okay, next mistake, this is a wrap. You lose everything. Because ultimately, you have to understand that the NBA, to a degree, they have created this Ja Morant, if you will. You can't mess with fire and not get burned, right? So they wanted to merge hip hop. They wanted to merge, they want that element to be around, but they didn't necessarily want it to spill over. So I think he's still safe because, let's face it, he's doing things that are counterproductive and negative to the community. He's not really, at the end of the day, yes, these sponsors stand to lose money if I just don't think, I'll say this, I just don't think what he's doing will be enough. Yeah, it'll make headlines. It's something. I think he'll be more quiet about some of the stuff that he's doing. I don't think he's deactivated his Instagram and all his social media. I just don't think he will be as public as he has been. That part of it. But what are we expecting him to now change his ways over the course of 6 games? Because if you didn't understand with all the other things you had going on, what you had to lose, what makes you think that ultimately the behavior, the mindset has to change? And that's something that I think is going to take more time than any 6 games, or even if he's out the remainder of the regular season. Because ultimately, I would be surprised. Now, if they really want to impact him and put him on a timeout, quote unquote, then they would suspend him for the rest of the season to include the playoffs. Be done, period. Then that's a statement, but they won't do that.
No, they're not going to do that.
They want to see.
But if he does something like really egregious, which in a lot of ways has somewhat happened, right? When you look at the incidents that he's been involved in, right? You got situations that translate into the real world, if you will, right? Not the insulated NBA bubble, right? But stuff that translates into people getting hurt, people taking what they've seen Ja involved in, some of the company he keeps, how that can instigate a lot of things to people that are really from the hood, that could have whatever opposition they have with him. Like, those things can really translate. You talk about infrared beams, you talking about, on the court stuff that kind of gets to a place where it gets real, what they would consider to be thuggery. You got guns now
potentially throwing up gang signs at games.
That's what I'm saying. So when you look at that, I do think they got him on a leash. It's one thing, let's just say, if he was caught up in a situation where, okay, he was in a random situation at a club or something, and he was out and about. Somebody approached him. He got something happened where he got into some kind of slight altercation or something that was random. But when you're in your own home, right? You go in your house, you get a gun, you smack a kid up, you got an infrared situation with infrared beams pointing at another NBA team's bus, and then you're holding guns up in a strip club. That's a whole nother level right there. And I can't see the NBA or the sponsor, particularly Nike, that would say, hey, look, if he does something another 2-3 weeks that's similar to that level of ill-advised behavior, trust me, there's gonna be some real consequences. It's gotta be, because of what he's done. To me, it's not like he broke a curfew, or maybe he's just getting into it with his coaches. It's like Kyrie, right? Kyrie never broke any laws, right? Kyrie never came on the cusp of breaking a law. He never did anything that was egregious to society, or that could be translated or interpreted into something that could eventually evolve into something where somebody could get hurt bodily, or it could end in some type of death or something to that effect, right? Like, he wasn't bringing the street element into his life or into the NBA. Whereas Ja, that's a whole nother thing.
But yet he got canceled. But yet he got canceled.
Well, that was my point in one of the other episodes I said. That's true. No, you're right. But I don't think they would allow this level, though. Like, we know why Kyrie got canceled, right? Because that's a no tolerance right there. So
But I think history tells me that I could probably think off the top of my head at least 3 or 4 NFL, NBA players that were involved in questionable behavior.
Like
I'm talking
street
about
life behavior,
felony. I'm talking about felonies.
Yeah.
I mean, felonies, people involved in homicides that were still able to finish their career, Hall of Fame careers. And I mean, maybe on the next episode,
I can't think of any, to be honest.
Okay, I can tell you an NFL player that was involved in a homicide that Ray Lewis.
Yeah.
How about Ray Lewis?
Oh yeah.
Did that stop anything? Is he still being? Does he have a post career?
But that was only. But again, right? You talking that one episode? He's in a club.
Okay, that's
no.
That's
it is
bigger
but
than anything that Ja has done.
No, it is. But again, there wasn't. In other words, Ray was in a situation where he's in that environment, right? It's one of those in the wrong place, wrong time. You got some obviously some real unsavory company that you're keeping, right? They happen to push the envelope. Ray is involved in it, right? He gets exonerated, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. But the truth is, that was a one incident. When you look at Ja's situation to me is a little different because there's a pattern. And there's a pattern of questionable involvement with things that, again, can translate into a lot of other things. So, no, I agree with you with Ray, no doubt. But that's a one. But if Ray had a history where he was caught up, say, in some drug trafficking or involved with some real criminal activity.
Why do we have to create levels? Well, he was on his third strike and then he figured it out. No, I'm not saying that he committed the murder, but he was directly involved with somebody, a fight or something that broke out at a club in Atlanta, right? And someone died,
right? But he was indicted, though, right? I mean, he was indicted.
Okay, so it wasn't that he was just my boys got involved, right? Clearly, the courts, witnesses, attached him to that situation enough where he had to go through the process and then be exonerated, right? Right. So I'm saying if that in itself, there was a wide receiver that played for the Browns that the name will come to me. I think he ran somebody over in Miami and killed them. Yeah. Vehicular homicide, was still playing football. But listen, and this is the NFL, which by far
way more
is weaker than the NBA? I don't know. There's no guaranteed contracts. What are you talking about? So of course they're weaker. Their union is way weaker than the NBA's. The NBA gives guaranteed money, so the investment for ownership would be greater. The scrutiny would be, don't you think, because if someone is terrible or they do something, you can just cut them, and the money that you stand to lose is gone. That's it. Okay, we take a cap hit.
In the NFL, you talk about and with the
NFL. The NBA, I'm saying the NBA has guaranteed money. Those contracts are guaranteed. So the scrutiny level you would think would be even greater because the investment is longer, and you can't just, even if you part ways, you still got to pay.
I don't know, I don't know. I'm not familiar enough with it. I haven't done any research, but I mean, I do think that money, the money is guaranteed, like in the case of injury and stuff. But I mean, if you do something, I do think there might be some clauses in there in terms of, conduct or anything that would be considered to be detrimental to the team, the league, life or property or whatever. I would think that there's some caveats in those contracts where those contracts could get voided. I don't think an owner would just take full.
Well, yeah, I agree with that. I don't think that they are just blindly signing contracts. Right. And no matter what you do, you're going to get your money. Right. But my point is that I don't think Ja Morant is at the point where if he does something else. Now, we're not talking about next week. Tomorrow we hear he slapped somebody. He slapped his barber because he messed his lineup. We're not talking about that. We're talking about if he does something else in his career. Now, realistically, what you're saying is he's at that.
I think he needs to be clean for about 2 years, at least 2 years.
He will not be. That's number one. He won't be because that mindset he has to see. And we'll see what happens. We'll see the severity.
So what do you think will happen to him then? If he does something on the level of what he's done in the last 3 weeks or so, right? Or the last month or so, you think if he does anything comparable to that, what do you think is going to happen to him? They're going to just suspend him, 5 games or something?
Okay, so they've already committed to him long-term. Memphis has.
Yeah.
His contract kicks in next year. They already gave him an extension for upwards, it could be up to $231 million.
Right.
So from that standpoint, what could they possibly do
well,
to
he
him?
could get suspended and lose money, right? I mean, he gets suspended.
Okay.
He can lose money, but I think he would get suspended a significant amount of time. I think if he does something, say like if Ja gets into some trouble, and again, and I don't know if this happens, if this qualifies, say in the off season or something like that, right? Let's just say we would assume he does not get into any more trouble the rest of this year, right? That's going into the playoffs and everything, right? Okay, we would like to think he learned his lesson, at least for now. But say over the summer, then, he's out there. There's really I'm sure there's supervision, but not to that degree. He gets into something else comes up, whatever. I don't know what the NBA or Memphis really could enforce at that point. But if he goes into next season and you're in this next season now and something like this comes up again, where he's brandishing a gun or gets into an altercation or something to that effect, I would think that there will be some real consequence, because they can't ignore the pattern, right? Because again, let me tell you something. The Ja Morant is, even though that's an investment and everything, and I agree with you on that, I'm not disagreeing with you, but I do think there's a limit. There's always more Ja Morants they're gonna find. Like the NBA and these owners are not like, Ja Morant is not a 1 in a million type player. You're going to find another Ja Morant. And so they're not going to just, hurt themselves and set precedents with a guy who they're going to just keep giving a lot of latitude to because he's Ja Morant. Like, no, it's this. They're not going to do that. He'll be in trouble big time if he does.
I'm not saying that they won't come to, okay, enough is enough. Right. But I just don't, it's not now. In my opinion, he has some more rope. If he wants to make some more mistakes, I think they're going to be willing to do that, because they've already. Now, we'll talk to the NFL really quick. I'll just say this. Look at Kyler Murray.
Right.
He displayed behavior that was not franchise quarterback worthy. They committed the money to him. That's why it took them forever and a day to get a head coach. You have to now figure out most people, as maybe attractive as that job would be, you got to deal with him. You got to deal with him for at least 2 years. And if he lacks maturity, that is supposed to be your franchise quarterback. There is something now you have to deal with. They have committed to him. And any way you cut it, even if they say, you know what, you did something that crossed the line, and we're right at the cusp of canceling you from the sake of, hey, listen, I think he would slowly but surely, if something else happened to the level, it would have to be something serious. Because
who are you talking about? You talking about Ja or you talking about Kyler Murray?
I'm back to Ja Morant.
Ja Morant.
He would have to do something serious. I'm saying,
well, what would be serious? I mean, you don't think what he's done already is serious enough? Just the last 3 incidents?
I don't think that it is to the level that is considered serious. Who told you it was serious? What has Nike done but support him? So it's not serious.
I mean, they supported him because, again, to your point, which again I agree with, right? He's an investment. They want to give Ja an opportunity to say, hey, let us intervene. Let us come into this equation, Ja. Let us see if we can get you the help you need, right? Because that wasn't the case before, right? They just assume, he's on about his business. He got his family, his friends, they're surrounding him, right? I mean, the NBA is not babysitting every star player, but now they see there's a pattern with him, right? So now they're like, okay, look, we're going to step in and we're going to help you get right. So yeah, the Nike, you got a signature shoe, you got Powerade or whatever, all these different brands and stuff. So I think right now they're doing the right thing by saying, okay, we're going to take this first step of coming in and trying to mitigate some of this and see if we can get him on the right path. But if he does something like on this level or worse, to me, I think they're going to be like, okay, look, we ain't got no choice but to cut ties, because what kind of message are you going to send? Because when another player of his caliber does the same thing, what are you going to do? And I don't think they're going to invest. Again, they got outs in these contracts. Like, technically, Nike could have. And then you look at Kyler Murray. I'll just make this last point real quick. With Kyler Murray, I mean, that's nowhere close to what we're talking about with Ja Morant. I mean, he yelled at a coach. He insubordination, if you will. Okay, I can understand that, right? But he's going to get away with that because he's still what is perceived, even before he signed the contract, to be their franchise quarterback, right? So, okay, he's a little hot-headed. That you can work with that. You get a coach in there, you get the right people and say, look, all right, somebody with some cachet, they could bring Kyler Murray in. That's different than somebody making some off the court, off the field decisions that are detrimental, that can destroy their livelihood and even put other people in harm's way from a legal standpoint. I mean, Kyler didn't break any laws, so I mean, it's different.
Okay. We'll see how it plays out.
Yeah,
I think
interesting.
I think the fact that Nike and these other people sent out their statements were supporting, and not specifically condemning his actions, because you can do both. I can support you, because hey, you need help, but still condemn the actions. They didn't do that. That's first off. Number two, punching the kid, beating the kid up, that wasn't enough. Step into the security guard, that wasn't enough. It's the difference with these things are nobody sees them, right? Because if you think about Ray Rice, he got things escalated because there was video.
Facts.
Which guard getting punched in the face? Jordan Poole. If that was just a conversation, oh yeah, there was a scuffle and nobody saw it,
right?
It wouldn't be that. It wouldn't have been.
I totally agree with you.
The fact that they seen it, now it's, oh yeah, now he has to get the help. But what I'm saying is that the things that he did should have been enough for them to pause or really reconsider his maturity level and if he can handle and he can be the face of said companies. So
that's to my point, though. That's why now the pressure is on. That's why they have to step in, right? Because there was a video, which is a great point you're making. I totally agree. Which is was what the NFL, NBA is known for, right? They're very reactionary when it becomes something that's publicly seen in video. But that now puts the pressure on the NBA, right? And these other companies like Nike to say, okay, now we're going to really have to start being more discretionary in terms of how we're going to handle Josh should he get in trouble again, because now you publicly came out and you supported him. So now you're going to have to definitely, you're going to have to take some responsibility for his actions, right? Although they can't technically be responsible for his decisions, but they are going to be now responsible for what kind of repercussions their job would face by way of his actions, because now they're on display, because now they have openly involved themselves in that equation. So to your point, I think your point is valid, but I also think now it even speaks further to the point that he's on a shorter leash, because now everybody knows in the NBA and Nike has been forced to jump into this thing now, and now they got to do something if something like this was to happen again.
But they did that. They got all of that, and with the video, they're supporting him. It seems like with the video, all the things leading up to the video, what they should have addressed. So the way they're addressing it now. Now that they have the video, they are coming out and saying something, but he has to forget the whole situation with the team bus and the beam on the bus when they played the Pacers. They're a bit the on-court stuff.
Right. There's
a lot of stuff that they could have pulled him to the side. And maybe they did privately. Now that this is a public thing, he put it, that whole video on Instagram. Now it's something that they need to address. But it doesn't seem like they are really, in my opinion, holding his feet to the fire and really giving him a quote unquote scared straight moment where, like, do you realize what you stand to lose if you continue with this behavior? My thing is, depending on what the NBA does, I'll know how serious they are. Yeah, because in any other investigation,
that's my point.
You don't need a smoking gun.
Right.
No pun intended. You don't need a smoking gun to put pieces together. Sure. But now they want to break down piece by piece. Just like the video, and I hate to kind of interject this, but just like the video or the photo that was posted with Jerry Jones. Now we don't know what he was doing. We don't know if he was he was sleepwalking. We don't know. Like, if they don't want it to stick,
Yeah.
they'll do what they'll come up with a narrative so it doesn't stick. So if he's in a club where clearly alcohol is being served, he has his shirt off, right? He doesn't work there, right? So he shouldn't have his shirt off, right?
Right.
So if unless he's working there, unless that's his part-time job, he should have his shirt on.
Right.
So unless every other patron has their shirts off, then that's already out of pocket. He has a gun to up, and he's doing an Instagram live. People around him are drinking, but yet they'll come up with the narrative, oh, there's no proof that he was drinking. There's no proof, because now saying alcohol and a firearm, there you have a problem. So, listen.
But you don't think so? If he gets in trouble next year, say the season starts next year, and Ja's in a club or in some public space, or something comes out that has to do with guns, which we've already seen that happen. He threatens, maybe he, and again, God forbid, we're not obviously speaking this over Ja, but just for the sake of our debate here and in context to our discussion, if he, let's just say, assaults somebody, right, or hits somebody, or hits his girlfriend, or somebody in a public space, or whatever, you don't think that there could be something a lot more? I'm trying to find a word, but his consequences will be a lot more dire than what they are now. You don't think that?
I do. Yeah. But I also think he's done enough already, though, for the NBA to have a stance and levy a suspension. Here, this is what it is, and be swift about it. Like, the fact that they are letting Memphis take the lead is one thing, but at this point, I think the NBA, they can investigate and wrap stuff up rather quickly. This is not a he said, she said, right? So they could have come to a conclusion and made a specific, decision as to.
Didn't they? I thought they, but now I'm thinking about it. Didn't the NBA suspend him indefinitely or no? So that wasn't indefinite.
No. Memphis has been the only people that have said that they asked the head coach after the first game, or after the game after this happened. They said that he's going to be away from the team for 2 games. That was the next 2 games. He'll be away from the team, getting the help and all of that stuff.
Okay.
Then the day after, Ja Morant came out with a statement taking accountability for his actions. I hurt my team, my family, whatever. Boom. Right. Then just yesterday, it came out he's going to be away from the team at least another 4 games. That's not the NBA. That's Memphis trying to get ahead of it and soften the blow. As long as Memphis is still, I don't see this. If the NBA is serious about it, the NBA will see to it that he is not there for the playoffs. Suspend him throughout the playoffs. Then,
I agree.
You're serious. You're making it serious to him, serious to his team, because Ja Morant could come back.
Right. So that's my point. So you don't think that they're going to come down even hard? Like, okay, I think we both saying he's done enough for them to actually have suspended him for the rest of the season, right?
At least. What you're saying?
At least, right. So I agree with you there. So that's my point. Because they're not, and they're real slow in terms of how at least the NBA is, in what kind of consequence or punishment that they want to render to Ja. You don't think that if this happens again, you think they're going to just again?
No, it will. I agree with you. Yeah, but I'm saying he has done enough already to be suspended.
Right, but you don't think if he gets suspended? Okay, what I thought you were saying was that Ja still has more rope to hang himself. Like, in other words, he can still mess up.
And I agree with that too.
He can mess up to this degree again and really not suffer any real dire consequences.
They're not going to cut ties with him. No, I don't. They already have 231 million reasons not to sever ties with Ja Morant.
But that's they could look.
That's not chicken feed.
No, it's not. But but if his actions are egregious in terms of anything that obviously impacts the law, if you will, right? Then we're not talking about, again, breaking a curfew, maybe, not showing up to practice or something like that. We're talking about something that has consequences regarding the law. if he does something like that, the NBA can get out of that contract. Again, I'm almost certain of it. And if they suspend him for half a season, he's losing bread. So it won't even matter either way. I mean, he'll sit there, but he won't make any money. I mean, it'll be almost like with Kyrie in the same. I mean, Kyrie lost a lot of money, just from being suspended. So I don't think. I hear, but I still don't think $231 million. And if you had to put into, when you look at the contract, just to use your example, and I know you know this already, obviously. I mean, but Jerry Jones, it's a whole nother thing, right? Jerry Jones stuff is going to go away. It doesn't matter because Jerry makes money for the league and he makes money for every other owner. If that was an owner that nobody liked or he was in a small market, nobody cared, he can get caught and have to sell the team like the NBA, right? All owners seem like it's like wildfire now. Owners are selling the NBA teams because of what they said, racial slurs or whether they're, the bigotry or whatever they have going on,
sexual
in their
harassment,
world, sexual harassment, like what we saw in Phoenix, I think it was as well, right? So again, I mean, that's different, right? But Jerry probably, he probably done all of that, but it's not gonna mean anything because Jerry makes way too much money. He's not the Ja Morant of the NFL. So, I mean, Ja Morant of the NBA, it doesn't matter. They don't need, they could find another Ja Morant. I mean, honestly, if you think about it, he's a highlight, he's a box office attraction, but he hasn't really done enough. Like, I'm just saying, right? If Ja Morant was to not play basketball anymore, he hasn't made an impression, in my opinion, in this league to where you would miss him, but he won't affect the future or the immediate future of this league. He just hasn't done enough. He's been a great player, and clearly he's got a tremendous future, but he hasn't done enough. You know what I mean? If he was to not play or we missed him for 50, 60 games, you know what I mean? At some point, we'll get adjusted. It's not like LeBron or Michael. Michael's presence when he left or semi-retired, that was you could feel that. You felt that loss. So that was, to me, that is just my opinion.
No, I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that. Well, let's talk about somebody who will or potentially will be missed. Mm-hmm. Kevin Durant, listen, LeBron, I don't know where LeBron is, but LeBron has
LeBron ain't doing nothing, man.
Listen, LeBron has some type of voodoo doll. Stick figure.
Some stronger ankles, man. He needs stronger ankles.
It's unbelievable. It's so funny. It's crazy. He hurt himself in warm-ups, and it was just a freak accident. He's just layup line, and he hurts himself. Yeah. And now they're saying he's going to miss the rest of the regular season.
Wow.
He has to be reevaluated. And so the question is, has the sunset on Phoenix, their championship,
yes,
hopes. The first thing I thought about was I looked it up. First thing I thought about when I seen KD fall, because they played it 100 times, it was like, where did the banana peel come from? It was like thinking about Good Times, the show Good Times, when Thelma's husband, JJ, was taking the photo.
Yep.
And Keith, and he was supposed to be, I think, a Chicago Bear. And
yep.
And it's like, no matter what. At least KD got his money, right? At the end of the day, it's not Keith, right? Yeah. So it's like,
he's not going back to the projects in DC.
Right. So it's like unbelievable how bad. But I'll say this. They still have a shot because KD has shown through injury.
Yeah.
He comes back.
He does.
And picks up where he left off.
He does.
There is no.
He does.
There's no rust whatsoever.
No rust.
There is zero rust.
Yeah.
So it seems like as soon as he comes back, he picks up where he left off, can drop, 30 efficiently, no problem. So
the man could flat out play basketball. That's just what it is, man. He's just a pure basketball player. So it doesn't matter. Yeah, he could take off 3-4 years and come back and not miss a beat, man. The first jumper looks as smooth as it did before he got hurt 4 years prior to that. So it won't matter. No, I agree with you, D. Yeah.
So I think Devin Booker, because now Devin Booker, I believe they play Dallas again. And he was talking and chirping with, Luka and chirping with Kyrie and all that.
Yep.
Now you're not going to have Kevin Durant because they play. I think one more time before this season, the regular season's over, and clearly KD's not going to be back by that time. So now you're going to have to, back up. You don't have Big Brother to kind of get you out of a situation. So you're going to have to.
Right.
Their championship aspirations should be still in front of them and still ahead of them. It's just, hey, can we just tread water, hold it down till KD comes back? Because I'm confident if he comes back, he'll pick up right where he left off. What do you say?
No, I agree with you. I think they have a chance because, like you said, KD, when he comes back in the playoffs in that first round, which you hope he's back in, or at least maybe the second game, probably, maybe, give or take, they'll be fine with KD playing. Now, the chemistry is going to be another thing, right? Now, they look like they was gelling quite well, right? Because Booker and KD was putting up massive points. So they look like they, just because they're scorers, right? They can naturally score the basketball. You don't need chemistry for that. So they can do what they do. Because the way that they play, it's not like LeBron. LeBron needs chemistry, right? Because of the way he plays, he orchestrates, he facilitates. Those guys just score. You get them the ball, they shoot, the ball goes in. As simple as that. So I still think they can rock out. They just gotta. It's all going to be about the seeding though, and where they would end up. And I think that's where your problem comes in with them, and then that's where your questions are at. I mean, they got Sacramento, which is a tough team. I think Sacramento is the number 2 seed. So you got some. I don't see Dallas on their schedule for the remainder of the year. I don't see Dallas again, but I
thought they did play. Okay, cool.
Yeah, no, but that's cool because I thought so too. I thought Dallas was also on their schedule again, but they got Philly, they got Sacramento twice, they got Milwaukee. Okay, so those are tough games. They got the Lakers. They've got Denver again.
Between the
Denver twice, in fact.
Did you take a break when you said Lakers is tough, or did you?
No, Lakers. That's going to be a tough.
That was still part of that list of tough teams. Okay,
listen.
Cool.
Ayton will get abused. He will get abused. If AD is healthy, he gets abused. No one is stopping AD. Do we need to divert this conversation and go down another rabbit hole somewhere, or do we?
No, we don't. We don't.
All right.
And why do we have to say if AD is healthy?
Because he's like KD. They got brittle bones, man. I don't understand. KD got no ankles, and they need milk. That's what they need, milk. That's what somebody needs to put in their contract, right? Like you need to drink a certain amount of milk per day or something, right? They got to have some kind of calcium clause or something like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
To build them
Clearly
up.
they weren't nursed as babies because it makes a difference.
It does. Oh God.
These bones aren't fortified, but
exactly.
So we'll see what happens. Hopefully they can get their act together. Yeah. I think they still have a shot.
Yeah, they do.
Depending on how rapidly KD comes back, but mid grade 2 sprain, and it's just unfortunate, man.
That is unfortunate, man.
It's like what a family member of mine would call buzzard luck. He has buzzard luck. It's like, whenever things could go wrong, it's just
it's the injuries are problem. Jalen Brunson, he got hurt again yesterday. So the injuries. Well, D, you've been saying it since we started our show, right? I mean, injuries is the what? How do you put it? What's the word?
The great equalizer.
The great equalizer, right? There you go. So,
but my question to you is, and this is, although the Lakers have been playing really, really well.
Yeah, we have.
Why aren't they saying what's up with LeBron? They haven't given it a true.
Yeah, 2 years. I think he's almost
to be reevaluated.
Yeah, to be reevaluated. Well, it might be a little less than that now because they said that, I think, what it was today, Friday. I think they said at the end of last week. So, maybe in another week and a half, he'll get evaluated and we'll see. I mean, I do think he'll be back before the season. What?
But they haven't said anything. All right, we know what KD's injury is. We know what Jalen Brunson's injury is.
It's his foot. I think it's
what? Is it plantar? Is it his ankle?
No, I think it's the foot.
Yes, gout.
It's.
I mean, what is? No one's saying anything.
He said gout.
He's been spending the last 3 weeks drinking heart cherry juice to get the gout under control. But I don't know. We'll see, man. We'll
see. We'll see what happens. Yeah, I think it's the foot. I don't know. It's a tendon. It's a tendon injury. That's what he has. It's a tendon in his foot.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah.
Okay.
So the tendon is pretty bad. Tendon is that's no joke. And yeah, that's what they're saying here. I'm just reading from what Dave McMahon wrote. So yeah, it's a tendon.
Okay.
Yeah, right foot. Mm-hmm. So we'll see. All right.
So let me ask you a question.
Yes, sir.
Is the MVP voting rigged, in your opinion? Of course, we saw a situation with Kendrick Perkins and
that was interesting.
JJ Redick talking about MVP voting is rigged.
Right.
He said this is Kendrick Perkins, and clearly it was an error. He got really emotional in that situation.
You think Kendrick or JJ?
Kendrick. I think Kendrick Perkins got really emotional. He he lost his cool, and if you're stating the facts, then you don't have to get and debate naturally gets you emotionally charged.
Right.
Naturally it does.
Right.
But clearly, if you're stating the facts, now, if you think that Steve Nash shouldn't have gotten the MVP over Kobe, that's your opinion, and you can substantiate that with some facts.
Sure.
If you go down what they did. But to make a broad statement that it's biased and it's racist, I think he just, because then when JJ Redick brought up the fact that Magic, because Kendrick Perkins' point was that how can you be, or the majority of MVPs are, top 5 or top 10 or top 5 in scoring or whatever, or pretty much at the top.
Right.
And JJ Redick, with facts, brought out the point that Magic won it, and he wasn't top 5. So that deflates, and Magic Johnson is African American, so that deflates that whole narrative about it being rigged and racist and bias.
It was dumb.
What do you say?
Dumb. Yeah, I'd say one or two things. Either it was contrived, that whole argument, right? Or Kendrick Perkins was definitely just taking a very dumb, idiotic stance that had no substance to it. You couldn't corroborate anything other than what you feel, right? Because even in the people he brought up with Dirk and Nash and I forget the third player, Jokic. Again, it's like, bro, really? Like, come on, the league is over 70% black, so every player that's winning is going to be black, and year after year for all intents and purposes. But you still don't have enough evidence to suggest that these guys like Steve Nash and Dirk Nowitzki, and Jokic didn't play enough to win an MVP. They didn't play well enough, and you got to understand something too. It's a voting system. Voting is subjective. I mean, if you vote Republican or Democrat, is somebody right or wrong for voting the way they vote, right? I mean, it's all just based on preference. It's based on conditions that mean something to them, based upon what's impressed upon them and their environment, their day-to-day impact, and how they see their lives integrating with government policies, if you will. It's the same thing with voting in the NBA or the NFL, right? I mean, you can look at impact, because the truth of the matter is we still don't know what the MVP means, right? Is it the most valuable player by way of the best player on that team? He's the most valuable to that team, whereby if he's not on that team can't win. Does it matter how well the team plays, how successful they are? It's a regular season award, but I'll be honest with you, in my opinion, D, because that award is not rendered, and I don't know when the votes are closed, right? But when they shut the voting off, but it's hard not to imagine sometimes that regular season, I mean, the playoffs rather, that level of play is not taken into some account either. So I don't know when they close that off, but the MVP is very nebulous. It's very obscure. It's something that I don't think people can figure out. It's still ambiguous in terms of what is an MVP, but to go out on a limb and say it's racist when these guys won, they didn't deserve their award. Like, Dirk was balling, bro. Like, there's nothing you can say. I mean, Jokic is the dude is a 2-time MVP back to back. There's nothing you can say. The boy got stats, and he plays basketball on a whole another level, and his team is very successful. Again, if that means something.
Yeah, and Kendrick Perkins was saying that he was stat padding, but then
who doesn't?
But JJ Redick brought out the fact that he was. I think they just lost to Chicago recently, a day or two ago.
Milwaukee.
No, right? I'm talking about Denver. They lost at home to Chicago 2 days ago.
Yeah, they did.
But prior to that, the team was 28-0 when he averaged a triple double. So that's not stat padding. That means that you are impacting the team in a positive way that is equating to victories.
Sure.
So if he was just, this is not your Russell Westbrook triple double. Right. This is actually This is equaling wins, and not to mention they have the best record in the NBA. So they're number 1 seed in the West. So it's a lot tougher in the West.
Absolutely, it is.
So you have to take in totality. You might not be thrilled that he won. He's going to win possibly. There's a month left, so maybe he falls off a cliff, and other Embiid elevates or Giannis. Right. But they've also, Giannis has had injuries, so maybe it doesn't happen for him.
Right.
Embiid, maybe if he plays, I think maybe they play one more time head to head. So maybe he makes, but I don't know if the voting has ended by then. But I wouldn't be upset if he won a third time. I think it's well deserved, and I mean he's a really, really skilled, big man.
Very skilled.
Listen. A big man that can average 10 assists a game, there's a lot to be said about that.
Absolutely.
So, he deserves it.
Buffoonery take, no question about it.
Yeah, absolutely.
I agree with JJ all the way on that. No doubt.
Yeah. Okay, so let's quickly go to the NFL. Lamar Jackson, we spoke on this, I think, a little bit in our last show or previous show. Mm-hmm. Baltimore didn't give him an exclusive tag. They tagged him, but they gave him a non-exclusive tag, which means he makes $32 million a year. Other teams with other quarterbacks, less accomplished quarterbacks, were able to work out deals. Danny Dimes was able to get a 4-year extension. He now makes $40 million a year.
Good grief.
Geno Smith was able to work out an extension. I think he got a 3-year deal, something like that. 3-year, 105, something to that effect.
Yeah.
But I say all that to say they have not done what Lamar Jackson has done.
Not even close.
Not a league MVP.
Nope.
Has not elevated the team to the level that he has.
Nope.
Yet he has to. I mean, $32 million for me is fantastic.
Oh, I mean,
but in what he has done, I think Baltimore owes him a little more respect. Do you think the fact that he doesn't have a agent and he is working with his mom as his agent, do you think that is hurting his situation? Or do you think that Baltimore, after I think next week, the 15th or the 13th, teams can really start wheeling and dealing? Because all these teams that needed quarterbacks said, nah, we're not in the Lamar business. Now, do you think that is cap, or do you think that they are realistically colluding to prove a point to him that the owners will still be the owners and will decide what your pay is?
I think it's the latter. The latter, absolutely. The league, again, goes back to what we were talking about earlier with Ja Morant and all of that, right? Again, there's another Lamar Jackson in their mind. They will never let a player circumvent what is considered to be a legacy of wealth, right? They always believe the shield is bigger than anybody. And that's what the owners are all about, right? And so I believe it's collusion. It's no different than what we saw with Kaepernick and everybody else. Not only with the owners, but even in the industry of agents, right? How many agents are angry right now because they're missing out on so much money they could have had representing Lamar Jackson, and he's not going to do that. Because, look, at the end of the day, right, a lot of players, if you've been in the league any length of time and, now with the wealth of information that we have, players are far more studied and learned about business and things like that than athletes were 40, 50 years ago. And I would say even more recently than that. But they can represent themselves right now. I personally would think having an agent, there's got to be still some benefit to that.
Certainly.
But when you talk about Lamar, right, you're looking at a guy whose play, commitment, sacrifice has already spoke volumes. This guy's played hurt. This guy has played a whole year without a negotiated contract, could have sat out, could have held out, didn't do that because he wanted to win, didn't want to let his teammates down. This guy is team friendly, team committed, loves the city of Baltimore, and still, right, none of that means nothing to that team, to that organization at all. And I think it's a travesty, D. I think it is very belittling. It's denigrating to see what the Ravens organization has done with him. And not only that, but the rest of the league. Now, I would like to think it's Cap, but I know it's not as far as these other teams are saying that they're pulling out now. But, the thing is now he gets only $32 million, right? I mean, heck, man, if you was going to collude, right? If y'all was like, look, man, we ain't signing him. All right, so you know what we'll do? We're going to give him an exclusive tag. He'll get his $42 million or whatever he'll get, and we'll let him have that at least. That man gets $10 million less than Daniel Jones and still may not get a contract offer from any other team. And what is Lamar going to do? He's going to play on that $32 million, right? Because he's Lamar Jackson. That's just the type of dude he is, right? And what can happen next year, right? Can they go ahead and tag him again and keep putting him in that position where he'll never be able to see any big money?
That would be foolish for them to do it, because if they tag him again, they would have, because the tag is guaranteed. So they're giving him guaranteed money 1 year at a time, which is zero respect.
But it wouldn't be like the 270 he's probably looking for, right? I mean, he wants Deshaun Watson money, right?
Right. So he wants anything over 230 because Deshaun
Watson
right?
is how much 230, right? I keep thinking he got 260. 230. Right.
What I'm saying is he can go the route that Kirk Cousins did, right? Because remember, Washington, they didn't believe in him either. So they franchised him twice.
Yep.
He got upwards of $100 million, close to $100 million fully guaranteed.
Yeah.
Then went to Minnesota and got a fully guaranteed contract.
Well, who won that deal then? Then who came out as a
Kurt,
winner?
of course, Kurt.
You think Kurt? I don't think so. I think the Commanders did, because here's why. $100 million, the owner doesn't mind paying that, right? It's the long-term money that you're gonna have to commit that a quarterback that's starting in the league, and you're looking at Lamar wants what, 231, 235, whatever it is, right? Anything above. I'll give him $100 million. I'll give him 32 this year. It's going to go to 60 next year, whatever, right?
Yeah, but what's the difference? What is the difference if you give me $100 million over 2 years and I get 231 over 4 years?
Right, but the player wants more. The player wants. What do you mean? That's a big difference, I would think. Right?
No.
Because after 2 years, if you don't think Lamar is that guy, like you feel like, okay, his style of play, he's going to somehow descend in his skill, maybe, the injury thing or whatever the case may be, you're taking a chance to say, we think that if we only gave him $100 million over 2 years, that's better for us than being bound for 4 years at 240.
No, and I get that, but from Lamar Jackson, other than his feelings being hurt,
right?
Monetarily, that doesn't hurt him. If they say we're going to give you 2 years, $100 million, right?
Yeah,
we'll tag you twice. Which, let's say after it's all said and done, the first tag will be $32 million, fully guaranteed.
Right.
The next tag, let's say, will be $50 million, right?
Right.
So now we're at $82 million,
right.
$83 million, fully guaranteed.
Right.
And they say, you know what, we're gonna go cheaper, right? And he gets a full a long-term deal with someone else for 4 years, $160 million. He didn't lose anything. Actually, he's gotten
not Lamar. I'm talking about for the team, though. That I'm talking about.
Who cares about the Ravens?
No. But what I'm saying is, what I'm trying to do is put into context why they're thinking the way they're thinking. Because see, again, they don't mind paying him that. Now, if he gets that money from somewhere else, so be it. Because clearly they don't want to sign him to a long-term contract for whatever those reasons are, and we would assume it's for injury. We don't think he's a good player. I mean, he's a good passer, or whatever the case may be, right? All those different things. Not to mention they put nobody around him, so they never gave the guy any weapons.
He just has a tight end. That's it.
That's it. Just a tight end. And Andrews is all he has. But what I'm saying is that if the ownership, I'm just advocating for them in this sense. And not that I don't agree with them, I'm just telling you why they're doing what they're doing. They don't mind tagging him twice. They'll give him the $82 million you just mentioned, and then if he walks, he walks. They don't care. They don't mind, because at some point they're like, we rather that than we'll get these 2 years out of him. Whatever he gives us, he gives us. And you know what? We got whatever we got for a lesser price than to pay him $230 and he gets hurt. He does it. He maybe, he folds in the first round of the playoffs. We don't really get, and we're stuck paying him all of that money, and we're further than where we are now. Now, I think that's I think that's idiotic for them to do that, but that's how these owners are looking at it.
And I get it. If you don't believe in him, you don't want to commit to him for long term. But historically, tags are more expensive than long-term deals.
They are, and they hurt you.
It's a bigger cap implication. Yeah. It affects your cap way more to tag somebody, because you're paying pretty much an average or what the going rate, not the high end, not the low end, but kind of the median of what a quarterback is going to make.
Right.
So yeah, for his standpoint, they would be hurting themselves if they don't want him, and all the teams that said they don't need a quarterback, because clearly Atlanta needs a quarterback.
Sure they do.
They have the space. They have the money. The Panthers.
Panthers need one too.
Who else? Miami said they're not in it. But now I'm hearing Miami might be interested in.
They picked up Tua's option today.
They did.
About an hour before the show. Yeah.
Yeah. So what I'm thinking is, hopefully one of the teams that said they're out on it, they were just doing that for the sake of playing possum.
Sure.
Right?
Sure.
And then now, no need to bid against yourself, right?
Correct.
Because if you play your hand, then other teams potentially, hey, I got this person. Better that a person thinks, especially in negotiating, that this is the only option.
Right.
But once a person has many options, hey, Miami called me. Oh, the Panthers called me. Oh, Atlanta called me. Now everyone's bidding against, and there's a bidding war for me. If no one shows interest, then it's perceived that it dies down. But at 12:01, when the new season starts, he should be getting phone calls, because now giving those 2 first rounds, if they choose not to match, is cheap for a quarterback of Lamar's skill set.
Right.
And I wish we were in the position to do it. It would be, listen, give us Lamar Jackson.
Oh my God.
Good night. You give us Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, I have to say.
I mean, we based on the coaches and all of the stuff, we got 7 additional picks.
Well, for the coaches, yeah, I saw that.
I mean, they're late round, but
that's still picks. Oh yeah,
because we've been able to work magic in the run game and being able to pick up. So having a 7 additional picks, because we lost, now we lost coaches, coach to the Jets, coach to Miami.
Yeah, your
the GM to Texans.
I don't know if Wilkes can be D'Amico Ryan.
Oh no, I have no doubt about it. He's gonna be excellent.
Because you know what, I'll say this very, very quick, and I don't want to get off topic, but I will say this very quickly. The reason why I will be a little concerned, because it's all about how you use the guys. Like D'Amico understood how to play to the strength of those players, right? Wilkes is a good DC, but like it goes back to Dallas with Dan Quinn, to have the ingenuity and the innovation to make Micah Parsons, who was a linebacker, to make him an edge rusher, and to use Micah the way he did, and to use his pieces and the schemes that he did, and got the best out of guys. That says a lot. So I think you can have a good coach, but it's the way that coach uses those guys, and that's where I think the verdict is out in terms of how Wilks is going to use your defense. Because your defense is great, but you can't just sit there and say, okay, we got a great defense. Let them go in and just do what they've been doing. He's going to have to still know how to use these guys and put these guys in a position to succeed based on who you guys get. And you're going to obviously have some new players and different guys coming in and out or whatever the case may be. So, yeah, that'd be interesting. But no, D, trust me, 49ers, if they ever got a freaking Lamar Jackson,
that
it's
would
a
be
wrap. Yeah, it's a wrap.
That would be a wrap.
Kyle Shanahan, it's a wrap.
But it's,
yeah, it's a
but
wrap.
if they want Trey Lance, Brock Purdy, I will say this: Brock Purdy had successfully had his surgery, so he should be, was successful, so he should be on track for the season. We'll see how it goes. Knock on wood, there's no setbacks. Yeah. So that should be exciting.
I think he should be a starter going into the season, though.
But if we get Lamar, Brock, we listen.
Oh well, definitely, Brock.
Vios con Dios, Brock.
No, I think they'll keep him as a number 2. I think they'll trade Lance. They'll trade Trey Lance. Yeah, he'll be trade Lance,
and that would be
trade Lance,
right. Trade Lance.
Trade Lance, right?
Yeah, we'll trade Lance.
Right.
And hey, listen, you got a young quarterback.
Yeah,
he's cheap. Right? These are all the things you want. Because if Baltimore don't want to pay nothing, hey, you got him for at least another 2-3 years.
And you can get a 4th or a 5th round pick for him. They're not going to look for number 1 or number 2, but they can get they'll take, because look, the 49ers got so many freaking
no. You're going to, if we were able, see, the whole thing is, if we took on, it wouldn't work. It just wouldn't work.
What do you mean?
Getting Lamar Jackson, because he's looking for a long-term deal.
Oh yeah. Oh no, I was talking about if you was to trade Lance, if y'all had a Lamar Jackson. But
no,
Lamar,
if we're not getting,
I don't think I got the money to have a Lamar though.
Yeah, if we're looking to get quarterbacks, and we got what we want, we got 2 cheap quarterbacks, so we can really build our team around these 2 guys for dirt cheap. I mean, Brock is not making anything.
Listen.
And Trey is making decent money, but nothing.
His contract will be the bigger. That's where the big kick can come in, because he's a first rounder.
Yeah, but that's not significant to what the market is.
Yeah, I think he would get if he's a first round draft, he probably would end up with it's at least $20 million as a first round draft pick. That if they pick up the 4th year is a little bit lower, and I could be wrong again. But the 5th year of a contract is that's you get a nice little piece of change there. I mean,
but he's not there yet.
Who's not there yet? No. Trey
Lance is cheap.
How many years he's been in the league?
This is his 2nd year.
Trey Lance is
his whole contract might be $40 million. He ain't making no serious bread.
No,
I mean, it's serious money. Like I'm saying in terms of
he's going into his 3rd year. It's going into his 3rd year.
Okay, so 3rd year, and his whole contract was probably $40 million, right?
Yeah.
And then if you factor in what Brock is making, last pick, both of their salaries combined is still below the quarterback average.
Right, I agree.
Yeah. Okay, so last but not least, let's quickly talk about this weekend. Will Aaron Rodgers, after he has come from a drug-filled haze, do you think he will sign with the Jets? He's been on shrooms. He's been on perks. He's been on everything. Yeah. Listen, I think if he goes to the Jets, that team is going to be bananas. I think it is the only, if he's smart and he wants any shot of still winning, because what he will get with the Jets, because the Jets, they flew out to him, they want him, he'll get more time, he'll get an extension on top of it. He's already, I think he's supposed to make something like $58 million.
50. Yeah.
58 million this year.
Yep.
Or the year coming. And so for him to get an additional maybe 2 more years on top of that, at that pay, I mean, and you got weapons, you got a running back, you got receivers, you got a great defense.
Right.
It's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
Now you are going into the AFC, which is a more difficult path to the Super Bowl, right? Because you got young guns quarterback wise that you would have to go through. But that defense, hey, you can take that on. Oh yeah, Buffalo is. They look like they're tanking. They're having a fire sale. So Buffalo is not going to be, unless they're doing some magic after the new season starts. They're not looking good. They're not looking good whatsoever. No. They're talking about from the Vikings bringing Dalvin Cook to Buffalo to play with his brother. Yeah, I think that's a bad. Nah, Dalvin Cook is a great running back, but and it would be cool for two brothers to be playing together. But
right. Well, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You need a big bruising back to run in that cold weather.
Definitely.
And Dalvin Cook, as great as he is, he's injury prone. He's used to playing in a dome, so it's very different. It's very different. I think although they do play Green Bay 2 times a year, I think it's just a whole different vibe. If you can get Derrick Henry, you get Derrick Henry. You get somebody that is big, can handle he can handle a workload, but you don't require him to handle that kind of workload anymore.
Right.
And you just go from there, because it looks like they're going to lose Devin Singletary. There's a lot of people that just want to test the market, see how much money they can make. Everyone's trying to grab the bag, and who can blame them? If you ain't going to get a ring, if you're not going to get a ring, then at least get paid. I mean, everyone else is getting. Josh Allen's getting paid, and every what's his name got paid? The defensive end that got hurt
for Buffalo.
For Buffalo.
Yeah, what's his name? I know you're talking about.
He played with the Rams.
Von Miller.
Von Miller. Yeah. So he got his money. So people are getting paid. Von Miller has 2 rings already. So listen, get the money, unless you're definitely, or if you're young enough that you can wait it out. If you're getting kind of long in the tooth for a position, then you got to go ahead and take that money.
I agree. I totally agree. And I think Aaron with the Jets is a good look, no question, because you got all the pieces there, particularly with the defense. You got some weapons offensively. He has everything that well, you know what? I don't know. Look, I'm going to say this. Aaron Rodgers has had some good teams in Green Bay. He hasn't had a top 5 defense from what I can recall. Not like what the Jets got right now. But he's had weapons. He's had weapons offensively. He's had a lot of good players, people around him. He's had players. He's had people there. Good coaching, everything. I just don't see Aaron Rodgers being that dude that knows how to I don't know. I don't know if he can take them over the top. Competition, to your point, Dean, I agree. It's a lot tougher. You got Josh, you got Burrow, you got, Lamar if he stays. You got Herbert out there now. It's going to be tough. Even Tua, because Tua still plays with a really good team in Miami, right? So, it's and you have to see those guys twice. That's 4 games, against Miami and Buffalo, to say the least. And so, I don't know. And then Deshaun Watson will be back, right? You got to imagine he's going to, probably get back to form, right, with Cleveland. They got some weapons out there. So I don't know. I like Rodgers, but I think he had opportunity. You're right. Your team has clearly have owned him for the last several years.
Amongst other teams.
Huh?
Amongst other teams, too.
Yeah, the only one I can think of right now is Green Bay. I can't think of it anyway. We're talking about Green Bay. We're talking about Aaron Rodgers right now. Yes, no, but yes, y'all own Dallas in the playoffs. Y'all definitely do. No question. We have to do something about that for sure. But so I like the move. It's a good place for him to go. I don't think it's going to take the Jets over the top, because I do think that I just don't know. Rodgers, to me, I don't know. He got his one chip, but for some reason he just doesn't. He's had good teams enough to get out of a weaker NFC than what he's going to have in the AFC. Although the Jets are a little, but again, Jets are still young. So I mean, they're a really good team. They're a solid team. They overachieved, but they're still young, and so you still got to see how they're gonna evolve. He's had great veterans, great offensive linemen. He's had good running backs. He's had obviously Devontae and other good guys, Jordy Nelson. He has a lot of good receivers. He's played with good Randall Cobb when he was kind of at his height. Mm-hmm. But yeah, listen, but I don't think
Aaron Jones is a good running back.
Aaron Jones is a very good running back. Very good running back. So look, you had some good pieces there. All right, albeit it wasn't his fault that, what's his name took the ball out of his hands against the Buccaneers that year. Probably should have went for it, but Rodgers had a chance to run on that play, and he could have went up the middle instead of trying to force it into Devontae right there. I thought that was a bad decision on his part. But anyway, make a long story short, D, that's what I think, and I agree with you everything with Buffalo. If they can get a running back in there, I would get D Hen, try to see what they can do with that, and they're really tight, really strapped for Cap. Oh, and just one correction, Trey Lance is $34 million guaranteed. So
for what year?
For his whole contract.
Exactly. That's cheap.
For his whole contract. Yeah, it's cheap. It's cheap. I mean, I don't know. I don't have the breakdown of the years that they paid him already.
Yeah, so he probably is getting I don't know, $8 million, $9 million a year, because it's a 4-year contract. Yeah, like $9 million a year.
Yeah, well, sure. So 4 years. So he had a $22 million signing bonus, and then he was $6 million in 2021.
Oh yeah, we can live with that.
$6.2 million 2021 salary cap hit with a team option for a 5th year. So he's got most of that money. So yeah. So you what, $12 million is probably what's left.
Yeah,
good. Or even under that now because he got paid some more money this year. So yeah. No. Yeah, no, he's definitely not a salary cap issue.
Now we gave a lot of draft capital away. We moved up to get him. But we're getting all of those back because everybody wants any part they can get of the 49ers organization if they can get a coach.
Well, because they're African-American coaches? I thought
Yeah. If they can get, anybody.
See, that's just a
serve water boy. Can we get you? Can you get one pick for him? Like anybody that wants to, and I get it. And
I'm going to tell you why I hate that rule, though. I'm going to tell you why. Not because of the 49ers benefited from it, but I hate that rule because what do you think that does? That now makes black coordinators non-attractive, right? Or you're not going to promote in-house guy, because if a guy succeeds, you lose him. You're gonna have to. Well, no, I would take that back. What am I talking about? Okay, let me retract. I take that back. Okay, I'm bugging. All right, yeah. All right, don't worry about it, America. It's late in the day, America. All right, don't worry about
the hat.
It. The hat. The hat's got me bugging. All right, yeah. I don't know what I was about to say. That didn't even make no sense. You ever hear yourself talk, D, and then as you talk, you realize
it happens. It happens.
Yeah, and so that's what happens. Maybe it's just the 49ers. I don't know. I want to find. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. All right.
But listen, in any case, hopefully we'll know by next week early or the start of the new season.
Yeah.
What Aaron Rodgers does. I think there's talk that he's supposed to be he's going on a 48-hour mushroom binge before he makes his decision. Nah, I'm just joking. He's not going to do that. But I think he needs to process everything. The New York media is tough. So he's no longer a big fish in a small pond, right? So he does have to factor that in.
Right.
Being in Wisconsin, it's just cheese and, I don't know what else. So he's a huge celebrity coming to New York, getting paid, getting an extension, dealing with the Giants, dealing with the Yankees. There is a fight for, back page. There's a fight for that. So you have to earn it. Yeah, and definitely. The media is going to hold you accountable. And I think at the end of the day, he can tune people out because if you pile the money up high enough, he won't even hear what they're saying.
Exactly.
He might be at the press conference with a stack of money while they talking.
Right, all his money, because like this. So you know what I'm saying? Yeah, exactly.
I think he'll be okay, and I think it would be at this point it would be a good decision. It would give him a shot. I do say this: if he goes to the Jets, unless those other teams make moves, he's the best quarterback in that division, no doubt. That's the best team. I would give them the best odds.
Yeah,
even above.
I guess so. I don't know. Do you think he's better than Josh right now? I'm saying. I mean,
He's not better, but I think the team is better. I think Buffalo is going through some stuff.
Yeah.
So, Diggs, you got Diggs on one end, but now Diggs is in taking pictures in cowboy uniforms. He's talking about going and hooking up with his brother. So I don't know if they remember how they ended on the sideline. They were arguing.
Yeah.
So everything may not be sweet.
No, it might
certainly
not be.
Diggs' arrival got Josh Allen paid. Just like Amari Cooper got Dak paid. So he can, now he might say, hey, you got your money, but when it comes time, you just can't get over the hump. He may look to go elsewhere. And Stephon Diggs is a great receiver.
Oh, yes.
Somebody would be interested.
Oh, yeah. Could you imagine him and CD? Oh, my God, boy. Woo! That's it. There'll be no more ownership of the 49ers over us, buddy. No question about it. No question about it. You know what I'm saying? It's a wrap, D.
I love it.
It's a wrap. Because one of these episodes we got
one of these old mornings, right? Won't be very long. You gonna look for them and they gonna be going on home. They have gone on home every season in the playoffs. Please.
Oh gosh.
Yes. Please. It's over.
Yeah, let me chill. The time has not come yet.
Right.
Jesus would say, my time has not come. Don't worry.
Absolutely.
I'm not ready yet. No. So,
but listen, all right. In any case, shout outs to Infinite Audio for the music.
Yes.
Shout outs to Kingdom Creative for the production. Rod, it was a pleasure, man. I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
We'll see what happens, and until next time, man.
Yep.
Peace.